Welcome back to Garden Crafts, where discarded plastic bottles find a second life, and sometimes even a third. In today's episode, we invite you to slow down, breathe in the scent of fresh soil, and imagine the sound of repurposed beauty coming to life in your own backyard. From glowing bottle benches to whimsical planter walls and rainbow-colored stools, this isn't just DIY. It's a story of sustainability, comfort, and creativity stitched into every corner of your garden. If you enjoy content that turns trash into timeless design, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a gentle like, and leave us a comment below. Which of these ideas would you try in your garden? We love hearing your thoughts, your questions, and seeing your own projects bloom. Now, gather your bottles, warm up your imagination, and let's start building joy, one recycled piece at a time. In a quiet corner of a flower-filled garden, where bees hum lazily and petals sway in the breeze, a curious shape catches the light. At first glance, it seems like a giant sunflower has sprouted from the earth. But as you step closer, you realize it's a chair, a vibrant, handcrafted bloom sculpted from plastic bottles. Each petal, once a discarded soda container, has been cut, shaped, and painted in bold bursts of yellow, red, and tangerine. The seat mimics the soft heart of a real sunflower, grounding the design in nature's language. Set low to the ground, it beckons you to sit, breathe, and take in the garden as bees would, from eye level with the blossoms. Children pass by and touch it with curiosity. Adults pause, surprised by its sturdiness and color. This chair, made of what was once considered waste, now sings among the flowers. The bottles, translucent in some places, thickly painted in others, catch the sun and shimmer like stained glass. Creating one is far simpler than it looks. Collect colorful bottles, cut them into soft petal shapes, attach them around a firm base, and paint with love. There's no perfect formula, only the joy of making something your own. It's a project that invites reflection and encourages a different way of seeing what we throw away. It isn't just a seat, it's a statement, a joyful, blooming protest against waste. And in its presence, you feel that perhaps even small things, like an afternoon with scissors and old bottles, can bloom into something unexpectedly beautiful. Tucked beneath the outstretched arms of an old garden tree, a playful swing dances gently in the breeze. Its seat, an unexpected mosaic of repurposed plastic bottles, glimmers in shades of pink, green, and sky blue. Each curve, each edge, tells a quiet story of waste transformed into wonder. This swing was not bought, but built. Its form is simple, a wooden base softened by curved plastic pieces, smoothed and shaped from once forgotten soda bottles. The ropes are strong, knotted with care and trust. Above it, a string of cheerful paper lanterns flutters like floating blossoms, casting their warmth over this little haven of color. Children laugh here. Adults smile too, drawn to its whimsy, to its message. For in this garden, sustainability isn't just a concept. It's a seat, a moment, a gentle reminder that joy doesn't need to be expensive or wasteful. Creating this swing is a journey anyone can take. You'll need a few tools, a drill, ropes, and bottles you've rescued from the bin. There's freedom in the design. Some leave the bottles whole, others cut and color them like stained glass. Each version is unique as the garden it belongs to. But the real magic isn't in the swing itself. It's in the transformation. A bit of trash becomes a vehicle for delight. A corner of the yard becomes a space for movement, for laughter, for rest. And when you sit, when you push gently off the earth and feel the wind rush by, what you feel isn't plastic or rope. You feel lightness, not just in body but in spirit. A swing for the soul, born from the hand of someone who chose to see beauty where others saw trash. As dusk begins to fall and the petals close their eyes to the fading light, a soft glow awakens in the garden. It's not from lanterns or fireflies, but from a bench made entirely of clear plastic bottles, now glowing with delicate LED lights nestled within each hollow frame. At first, it looks like a sculpture, almost too magical to touch. Red, blue, gold, and green flicker softly from within, casting puddles of color on the surrounding grass. It sits quietly beside a path lined with sleeping flowers, offering not only a place to rest, but an experience, a moment suspended between nature and invention. The structure is simple, but the feeling it creates is extraordinary. Plastic bottles, bound and shaped into a classic bench silhouette, hide tiny lights that breathe life into the clear plastic. With a straight back, gentle armrest, and a wide seat, it's comfortable, inviting you to sit, even in the quiet of evening. This is not a difficult build. With collected bottles, some string lights, and a vision of reuse, anyone can craft this piece. You don't need a workshop, just time, care, and a willingness to see waste as material. The reward is not just a place to sit, but a way to light your garden without harshness. Children are drawn to it like moths. Guests pause enchanted. And for those who build it, the bench becomes a beacon, not just of color, but of possibility. That something discarded could become so quietly beautiful. In the soft hours of the evening, with stars waking overhead and crickets starting their song, this glowing bench reminds us, light can come from the most unexpected places. Even a bottle that once held only emptiness, nestled in the lush arms of a backyard garden, between flowering lilies and swaying grasses, stands a bar, but not the kind found in polished kitchens or trendy cafes. This one is hand-built, imperfect, and full of charm. Its foundation, dozens of reused plastic bottles, clear green, even lightly frosted blue, stacked and secured into columns, each one echoing a story of waste turned into welcome. Above these see-through pillars rests a wooden countertop, sanded smooth but still bearing the soft scars of its past life. On it, a jar of garden-picked herbs, a glass of citrus water with bright straws, and a scattering of petals fallen from a nearby hibiscus. The Eco-chic bottle bar isn't just a piece of outdoor furniture. It's a gathering point, a place where early morning coffees, midday juices, and evening stories all find a home. Whether you're sipping alone or laughing with friends, the counter becomes a stage for slow moments in the sun. What's remarkable is how simple it is to make. No heavy tools, no expensive materials, just plastic bottles, scrap wood, and intention. The bottles provide surprising stability when stacked and secured. The wood adds natural warmth and contrast. Together, they form a balance of rustic and radiant. And when the day grows dim, string lights wrapped around the bar bring the bottles to life again, glowing like lanterns. It's beautiful, yes, but more than that, it's thoughtful. It's a design born not from trend, but from care. Care for the earth, for community, and for the little pleasures that make a garden feel alive. This isn't just a bar. It's a celebration table for nature lovers, recyclers, and dreamers alike. On the edge of the tiled patio, where the garden spills over in soft bursts of color, a small square catches the eye. It's not a flower pot or a crate of tools. It's a stool, compact, luminous, and impossibly joyful. Crafted from old plastic bottles, stacked and painted in a seamless gradient from bold red down to deep purple. It radiates the warmth of summer rainbow trapped in a seat. This stool began its life in a recycling bin. Bottles once filled with water, soda, or juice now support the weight of anyone who sits, kneels, or perches. The rounded bottoms create soft texture, while the stacked form offers strength. The magic lies in the finish. Each bottle hand-painted, layer by layer, until they blur into a glowing spectrum of possibility. It's more than just furniture. It's a punctuation mark in the garden, something that makes people stop, smile, and ask, "Did you really make that yourself?" Yes, and anyone can. With clean bottles, a few basic tools, acrylic paint, and patience, the process is meditative. Assembling them into a tight cube is surprisingly easy. The hardest part? Choosing the colors and watching them dry. But when it's done, the result is extraordinary. A low-cost, high-impact piece that brightens any corner. It works as a stool, a side table, or even just an accent beside your plants. Kids love it. Guests admire it. And in its stillness, it speaks volumes. It says creativity doesn't need a shopping list. It needs only eyes that see value in what others toss away. This rainbow stool doesn't just support you physically. It lifts your spirit. And that's a rare thing in a garden seat made from plastic. Sometimes the boundary between what's useful and what's waste is nothing more than a change in perspective. Along the edge of this cheerful garden, a modest fence rises, not of wood or iron, but of plastic bottles. Transparent green and blue, they line the beds like gleaming sentinels, catching light and whispering stories of what they once were. The bottles stand upside down, half buried for strength, their necks peeking out from the soil. Some are filled with colored sand or soil, others left empty, shimmering in the sun. Together, they form a soft-edged border, clean, colorful, and undeniably clever. They separate without excluding. They frame without crowding. The flowers behind them, basil, calendula, and sage, seem to grow even prouder with such company. This fence doesn't come from a store. It doesn't need nails or screws. It grows from everyday things and a bit of intention. Building it is almost meditative. Rinse the bottles, align them in rhythm, press them firmly into the earth. The result is instant satisfaction, a neat edge to your garden that feels like your own signature. There's a quiet elegance in using what we already have. This fence doesn't shout. It doesn't try to impress, but it tells everyone who visits, someone here values what others throw away. Children love to follow its line like a trail. Guests often bend to touch it, unsure if it's really just bottles. And for the gardener, it brings a sense of calm, knowing that beauty doesn't always require buying, just a little reimagining. The upcycled bottle fence is more than a border. It's a reminder. Even the smallest decisions, like how we frame a flower bed, can bloom with purpose and creativity. In a quiet corner where shade meets sun, a gentle sound draws you closer. It isn't the rustle of leaves or the call of birds, but water falling softly, like a whisper. There, beneath trailing ivy and beside a garden crate, stands a curious creation, a fountain made from bottles, bubbling with life and framed in green. At first glance, it feels like a science experiment gone beautifully right. Plastic bottles, cut and stacked with care, guide water from one level to the next. Each tier cradles a small planter, mint, basil, creeping thyme, growing lushly from bottle halves, their roots brushing cool water below. The movement is quiet, rhythmic, endlessly soothing. It draws bees. It calms a gardener. This fountain planter is a tribute to balance between structure and flow, between trash and treasure. The bottles serve not just as vessels, but as bridges between function and beauty. Water travels in arcs through cut spouts and drips gently into soil, nourishing both plants and spirit. It's a project born not from wealth, but from attention. Collect the bottles, shape them to channel water, seal and secure them to a frame, a crate, an old pallet, even a stumbled dew. Add a small submersible pump and let the water run its course. It doesn't need to be loud. In fact, the quieter, the better. What blooms from this is more than flowers and flowing water. It's a sense of peace, a gentle breath in the day, and the knowledge that with a few things others would discard, you've made something living, something that gives back. This isn't just a fountain. It's a garden that hums with motion, a planter that sings, a place where even plastic finds a second life in the symphony of the garden. There's a place in the garden where laughter always lingers, a bench nestled in a sunny nook, blooming not from soil, but from imagination. This is no ordinary seat. It curves like a flower in full bloom, its petals wide and playful, its structure born entirely from things once tossed away. Crafted from repurposed plastic bottles, each petal is cut, curved, and painted with joy, rosy reds, lemon yellows, leafy greens. They rise behind the seat in a semicircle, giving the impression that the bench itself has grown straight from the earth, as if it bloomed overnight among the marigolds. Its base is just as clever. Tightly packed bottles, hidden beneath layers of paint and polish, form legs that hold steady while staying light. Despite its whimsical form, this bench holds firm, a resting place, a conversation starter, a tribute to creative resilience. Building it is as magical as it looks. You begin with bottles of all shapes, cutting them into petal forms, sanding the edges smooth. A wooden base or pallet provides a seat, and with a bit of drilling, gluing, and patience, it comes together like a puzzle in full color. This bench doesn't ask for attention. It earns it simply by being itself, joyful, unashamedly colorful, and proudly handmade. Neighbors admire it. Children climb it. Butterflies seem to hover just a little longer near its edges. And when you sit here in the curve of those painted petals, you feel something more than comfort. You feel playfulness returning to your day. You remember that trash can be tender. That color can come from effort, not cost. The whimsical flower bench is not just a piece of furniture. It's a wild, blooming idea made real. Beneath the tender bloom of a bougainvillea canopy, where sun and shadow dance in quiet rhythm, sits a lounge chair unlike any other. Its bones are bottles, stacked transparent, collected with care. Its skin, a woven web of colored string. Soft pinks, ocean blues, sun-washed yellows. It doesn't try to look perfect. It simply exists, comfortable, honest, and beautifully made. This bottle-woven lounge rests in the garden like it belongs there, a gentle companion to the earth. From afar, it seems almost like a hammock frozen in place. Up close, the craftsmanship reveals itself. Each strand pulled taut, wrapped around a clear plastic base, forming a soft cradle for tired backs and wandering thoughts. The structure is deceptively simple. The bottles are secure to form the frame, armrests seat back, but it's the weaving that brings it to life. The strings stretch and cross like vines, giving flexibility and breathability. No foam, no metal, just recycled elements finding new purpose and comfort. It's the kind of chair that invites slowing down. A glass of iced tea in hand, the scent of jasmine on the breeze, the sound of distant bees. It is a seat for poets, for daydreamers, for hands that love to build and eyes that see potential in forgotten. You don't need a workshop to make this. Only hands willing to tie knots and time to thread something lasting. It's a piece that hums with soul, stitched together from what once was thrown away. The bottle-woven lounge isn't just a place to rest. It's a quiet revolution in the form of furniture. A woven promise that what we make with care, no matter materials, becomes more than useful. It becomes beloved. In the center of a blooming backyard where marigolds sway beside patches of mint and lavender, sits a dining set that tells a quiet story. It doesn't shout with glossy finishes or sharp lines. Instead, it invites, warmly, humbly, built from old bottles and soft-hued wood, stitched together with imagination. The table, sturdy yet light, rests on 4 stacks of colorful plastic bottles, red, yellow, blue, painted like summer fruits and secured with care. Each stool mirrors this theme. 3 bottles as legs beneath a smooth, circular seat. Nothing matches exactly, but everything belongs. It's not about perfection. It's about personality. Around this table, breakfast becomes a celebration. Afternoon crafts turn into rituals. Evening tea feels like a tiny festival. There's something undeniably joyful in knowing you're sitting on something that once might have been discarded. Building this set doesn't require carpentry skills or expensive tools. A drill, some rope or brackets, salvage wood, and clean bottles are enough. The challenge lies not in construction, but in choice, how to paint, how to pair, how to make it yours. Each seat tells a different story. One leg still bears a faded label. Another gleams with metallic spray paint. And together, they form a circle of memory, use, and renewal. It is furniture, yes, but more than that, it is a stage for connection. Neighbors ask about it. Children tap the bottles curiously. And those who sit off and stay longer than expected, lingering in the kind of comfort that only handmade things can provide. The DIY dining set with bottle legs isn't just a place to eat. It's a place to gather, to celebrate the beauty of doing things differently, to prove that even the humble bottle has something to offer at the table. In a quiet patio corner, where pots spill over with daisies and the sun kisses every tile, stands a bench that feels like a smile you can sit on. Its body is built from dozens of plastic bottles, not hidden but proudly displayed. Each one painted in vivid stripes that climb from ground to seat in a joyful parade of color. Blue meets yellow, red collides with white, and here and there, a bottle keeps its original print, faded but familiar. There is no symmetry, and yet the bench feels balanced, playful but grounded, loud in color, soft in presence. It was made, not bought, and it tells you so with every bright, imperfect line. The bench itself follows a traditional form, a tall back, 2 armrests, a broad seat. But what gives it life is the choice to let the bottles sing, to let their shapes and shades shine through instead of being hidden behind panels or paint. They sparkle under the afternoon light, catching the sun like glass, casting colored shadows that move as the day does. To make one like this is an act of pure invitation. Gather bottles of every shape and size. Paint them if you like, or let them stay as they are. Stack them vertically and secure them to a base. Wood, recycled metal, or even more bottles. There's no blueprint, just intention, curiosity, and time. And when it's finished, it won't just be furniture. It'll be a feeling, a moment, a small burst of happiness you built with your hands. The joyful striped bench doesn't ask to blend in. It wants to be noticed, to be sat on with muddy garden boots and a warm cup of tea, to prove that even trash, striped and sunlit, can become comfort. In a tucked-away corner of the garden, where light filters through trees and the breeze speaks in hushed tones, something sways. Not a curtain, not a vine, but a hammock, delicate in motion, yet sturdy in form. It's been stitched together from nothing fancy, just old plastic bottles and weathered rope. But here, suspended between two quiet posts, it floats like a dream. The bottles, once destined for the bin, have been cut, softened, and flattened. Their surfaces curve into one another, linked by hand-knotted cords in faded blues and greens. Together, they form a flexible cradle, part sculpture, part sanctuary. You wouldn't think it comfortable at first glance, but once you sit, once you let it hold you, you realize it was made to carry rest. Above, vines tangle like hair in the rafters of a pergola. Below, soft moss grows between flagstones. The whole scene feels as if time paused to breathe. And at the heart of it is this swing, this odd, beautiful thing that proves comfort can come from the cast-off. Making it isn't difficult, but it does ask for presence. Bottles need to be cleaned, shaped, and sometimes warmed to curve. The weave is slow but meditative, a rhythm of threading and tying. The result is a patchwork of care, a net that holds more than weight. It holds meaning. This hammock doesn't swing high or wide. It doesn't need to. It rocks just enough to remind you that the earth moves gently when you let it, that you, too, can be held by something once forgotten. The plastic bottle hammock swing is a lullaby in plastic and string, a handmade pause in the rush of the world, in a garden buzzing with life, where bees linger on blossoms and soft soil yields to barefoot steps. A jewel-like object sits waiting. It's a stool, yes, but more than that, it's a bloom made by hand, shaped from discarded bottles. It shines in colors not usually found in furniture. Deep purple, teal, turquoise, a shimmer of gold. It glows as if painted by light itself. Built from bottles stacked in concentric rings, the stool stands firm, a low pedestal that doubles as seat, table, or quiet sculpture. Each bottle has been chosen with care, painted or left translucent. Their smooth surfaces reflect the sun, casting playful hues across nearby leaves. It fits into the garden like another flower, albeit one made from human touch. This stool is deceptively simple. Its materials are humble: plastic bottles, glue or rope, a stable round top, maybe a painted board, maybe an old pan lid. But once assembled, the effect is anything but plain. It becomes a focal point, a place to sit and sip tea, a resting spot for your watering can or your thoughts. Creating it requires nothing more than patience and a sense of joy. There's no wrong color to choose, no right number bottles, just the motion of cleaning, stacking, securing. It's slow work, but not hard and always rewarding. Children see it and call it a candy stool. Guess that's where you bought it. And when you say, I didn't, it came from my recycling bin, something shifts. They begin to see the garden differently. The vibrant garden bottle stool is not just furniture. It's an echo of the gardener's heart. Colorful, useful, and made for what others left behind. There's something charming about furniture that moves, not just metaphorically, but literally, in the dappled shade of a backyard patio. A coffee table glides gently across old brick tiles. It creaks just slightly, rolling on 4 upcycled plastic bottles that act as makeshift wheels. A crate on top, weathered and worn with age, holds a small bouquet, a pair of books, and a forgotten cup of tea still steeping in the late afternoon sun. This is the bottle crate coffee table. Part invention, part improvisation, born from an old wooden fruit crate, some cast-off bottles, and the desire to make something useful out of the overlooked. Its design is simple. Low to the ground, open shelved, with a surface just wide enough for conversation and just narrow enough to tuck beside a lounge chair. The bottles, reinforced and fixed at the corners, give it motion. They roll on smooth patio stones, not perfectly, but enough to feel playful. You can nudge it with your foot, wheel it from the sun into the shade. It becomes less of a fixture, more of a companion. Building one is deeply satisfying. It starts with a crate, salvage, perhaps, from a market stall or the back of the garage. Bottles are fitted as base rollers using brackets or straps adjusted for balance. No complex mechanics, just clever reuse. The result is a movable table full of story. Every scratch tells of the hands that made it. Every bottle has its own former life, once holding cola or soap, now supporting connection and quiet. In a garden where everything grows, even a coffee table can have roots in reinvention. The bottle crate coffee table doesn't need to shout. It rolls in slowly, quietly changing how you see what rolls out of your recycling bin against the soft yellow of a garden wall, where vines stretch upward and petals drift slowly to the earth. Stands a shelf so cheerful it almost hums. Painted in bursts of orange, teal, and magenta, it doesn't hide its origins. Its bones are bottles, plastic, once plain, now transformed into pillars of practicality and joy. Each vertical stack of bottles supports a small board, forming open tiers where potted herbs lean gently toward the light. A pair of garden gloves rests on the middle shelf. A small watering can glint beside an old ceramic cup filled with seed packets. There is nothing precious here, and yet everything feels chosen. This is the ColourPop garden storage shelf. It doesn't demand attention with polish or symmetry. Instead, it offers a kind of quiet chaos that feels deeply human. Built by hand, assembled with color and care, it fits into the garden like a tool left out on purpose. The construction is intuitive. Bottles are filled, some with sand or soil, others left hollow, and stacked as vertical columns. Light planks or recycled boards span between them. Paint covers everything in thick, joyful strokes. The result is a structure that feels as much like play as it does function. You might build one in a single afternoon. You might spend hours just arranging it afterward, choosing what little object to place where, finding beauty in usefulness. It holds more than pots and tools. It holds a sense of self-made order, a belief that the garden should be both tended and celebrated, that even your storage can be artful if you let it. The ColourPop shelf isn't fancy, but it is alive with personality, color in the hands of whoever built it. And in a world often too polished, that kind of handmade honesty is something to keep on every tier. There's a quiet nook beneath a tree where a book lays open and a half-sipped cup of tea waits patiently. Beside it, steady and glowing in the soft light, stands a tiny table, a circle of green and lavender plastic bottles, supporting a round top that holds simple, slow moments. This is the circular bottle bedside table. It wasn't built for grandeur or show. It was made for stillness, for sitting beside you while you rest in your garden, holding a journal, a candle, or a bundle of fresh-picked mint. The base is elegant in its simplicity. Bottles, clean and filled for weight, are arranged in a ring, tight and low, like quiet guards around a central space. Their curved shapes press gently into one another, their transparency allowing sunlight to dance through. On top, a round board, wooden, glass, or recycled plastic, rests gently, secure but not stiff. You don't need a plan to build this. Just an instinct for rhythm, a love for small corners, and a few hours to shape something lovely. The bottles can be painted or left clear. Some choose soft pastel hues. Others go bold, like sunrise pressed into plastic. There's no wrong choice. And when it's done, the table doesn't steal attention. It simply offers presence, a space to place your tea while you read, a ledge to catch petals falling from the breeze, a reminder that even small things deserve thoughtful design. Guests might miss it at first, only to return to it later, drawn by its glow. Children might trace its circle with their fingers. And you'll find it becomes a quiet companion to the rituals of your day. The circular bottle table doesn't speak loudly. It whispers gently. You made this, and it is enough. On a sun-dappled wall at the edge of the garden, something quietly blooms, without a pot, without a frame, but with purpose and charm. It's a hanging tapestry of plants, stitched together not with thread, but with bottles, plastic bottles, cut and tied, now transformed into small green pockets where herbs stretch upward and flowers lean gently forward to greet the day. This is the hanging planter wall, a vertical garden made from what once filled the bin, rows of plastic containers, sliced open and filled with life. Some are green, some clear, some still bear faded labels beneath the soil. But together, they form a living patchwork that tells a new story. That beauty doesn't need to begin at the garden center. Each bottle is strung by rope or secured with nails, resting against a wooden fence, a brick wall, or even an old window frame. Their openings face forward like open hands, holding thyme, lettuce, basil, or blooming nasturtiums. The earth is tucked in gently. Water drips down from one level to the next, feeding everything on its way. It's a system of care, a cascade of quiet growth. To build it, you only need patience and a little rhythm. Bottles are cut, cleaned, and pierced. Rope is tied. Soil is poured. Seeds are sown. It's not fast work, but it is forgiving. Each row becomes a line in a poem, written in green. As the plants grow, so does your connection to them. You water not just the roots, but the hope that more could be made with less. The hanging planter wall doesn't need space. It only needs a surface, a few bottles, and someone willing to plant vertically and dream wide. There's a small table on the deck that catches the morning sun like a prism. Its top is glass, clear and polished, but it's the base that draws you in. Not wood, not metal, but plastic bottles, stacked and arranged into a grid. Each one filled with bits of colored paper, stones, or left empty to let the light shimmer through. This is a recycled bottle table with glass top, at once elegant and honest. It's a gentle fusion of reuse and refinement, the kind of piece that could live in a modern cafe or a tiny backyard greenhouse, and feel equally at home in both. The bottles aren't hidden. They're the star, lined up with care, bound at the necks or glued into place. They rise to hold the weight of the top with surprising strength. Their contents tell quiet stories. Shades of blue like sea glass, mossy greens like garden shadows, warm yellows like pressed petals. It's functional, yes, but also deeply personal. Building this table feels like building something with memory. Bottles you drank from last summer, glass rescued from an old cabinet, bits of your day tucked into form. All of it becomes useful again, not in disguise, but in celebration of where it came from. When guests sit beside it, their fingers often wander the smooth rim, eyes drawn to what lies beneath. Children crouch to peer through the bottles. Light shifts as the day moves on, casting patches of color across the deck floor. It's not complicated, just bottles, glass balance. But in that simplicity, there's grace. The recycled bottle table reminds us that elegance doesn't need to be purchased. Sometimes, it only needs to be pieced together from what we already have, with care, with color, and with a story to tell. There are summer mornings when the world feels still, when the light spills over the garden fence like honey, and all you want is a quiet seat to stretch out and do nothing at all. In a tucked corner of such a morning sits a lounge chair, reclined just so, its curves built not from foam or metal, but from bottles, plastic bottles, clear, light, and laced into something surprisingly elegant. The foldable bottle lounge chair is a piece of quiet invention. It leans back with ease, the arc of the seat shaped to cradle legs and shoulders alike. But its charm lies in its dual nature, solid when open, humble and compact when folded flat. It's a chair for sun-chasing souls and practical gardeners, a place to rest, and then a piece to tuck away. Each bottle forms part of the frame, some whole, some flattened, all bound together with wooden slats or a simple recycled spine. The transparency catches the morning light, and suddenly the whole chair glows. You notice the small things, the label still faintly visible on one bottle, the tiny dents in another. These imperfections become texture, evidence of a life reused. To build it requires patience, but not perfection. A base that hinges, bottles drilled or tied into place, and a bit of testing to find just the right angle. The joy comes not only in using it, but in knowing that something so restful could rise from what was thrown away. And when you sit, it supports not just your back, but your sense of care for the planet, for for creativity, for the kind of comfort that doesn't come from a store. The foldable bottle lounge chair folds up gently like a secret, but when it opens, it's an invitation to breathe. As twilight creeps gently into the corners of the garden, the shadows stretch and soften, but in one quiet corner, a new glow begins to bloom. It rises from the earth not as a flame, but as a column of light, delicate, spiraling, and stitched from discarded bottles. This is a twisting bottle lamppost, a beacon of gentle invention, glowing where night first arrives. Clear plastic bottles, once forgotten, now wrap upward around a slender pole in a slow-turning spiral. Each one catches the last rays of sun, and later, the cool hum of LED light from within. The twist gives it motion even while still, a sense of something growing, something climbing, something lit from the inside out. It doesn't flicker like a candle or glare like a spotlight. It glows, calm, steady kind, just enough to light your steps through the garden at night, or to cast a glimmer across a flower bed as the air cools. Guests find themselves walking toward it, drawn not by brightness, but by its quiet presence. Building it is a gentle process. Bottles are cleaned, softened in warm water, and cut into spiraling forms or rings. These are layered up a recycled pole, maybe bamboo, maybe an old curtain rod, and secured with wire or brackets. A solar or battery LED strand threads through the middle, lighting it from within. It's not just a lamp, it's a sculpture, a promise that even in darkness, beauty can rise from what's left behind. The twisting bottle lamppost reminds us, not all light comes from electricity or flame. Some comes from effort, from reuse, from seeing something common, and turning it ever so slightly until it becomes extraordinary. Is there anything else I can help you with regarding these storytelling narratives?